Go over to the second presentation. You might know Carlo Battisti, who is actually the Restore Chair, and I am very happy to have you here today, of course. His presentation is about sustainability and from restorative to regenerative. I think it's a very interesting topic. What does it mean actually, restorative and regenerative, and what happened in the last year in this cost program? Please, Carlo.
Can you introduce yourself? Thank you very much, and thank you to the Vice President of GBC. A very interesting presentation. Thanks to Andras at your team at Abwood. Also a warm welcome also from the Coast Restore project, and very happy to be here. It looks like it's a very nice building and biophilic inspired, so feel comfortable. So I hope you too. So I'm afraid we are talking about always the same principles, but just to get, I would like to give an overview about the rationale behind the project, and leave the stage to Martin and Emanuele later to talk more about the restorative and regenerative design. This is the current situation. So the threshold of the CO2 emission has been clearly overcome. We are far over 400 ppm. And so this is really the problem from about global warming, and so this is this problem of raising of the level of the ocean. This is the network of islands, Kiribati Islands, and in Oceania there are something like 100,000 inhabitants. Divided in the 30 islands. They are really, it's a great territory, something like 4,000 per 2,000 kilometers of surface. They are very spread, and these are really the new the first environmental refugees, because they are really suffering from this problem. And this is something we are suffering in all parts of the world. This is a photo shooting by a photographer, shooting picture in every part of the world, explaining that there is this problem of global warming and increase of water level and flooding and so forth and so on. This is in South America, this is in Asia, in North America, in Africa, but the news is that we are suffering from this problem, almost also in Europe. So it's something we weren't accustomed to before, and we are starting to experience this type of problem, and to have a sort of request for more resilience for our building. This is the photographer shooting his pictures, and so this is the situation, general situation. We had a similar critical problem also in the Alps, the Dolomites areas of Italy. This is a place in Europe where the temperature has increased most in the latest 100 years, so something like 1.5 degrees, so much more than other parts in the world. So this is this beautiful glacier, and not far from Bolzano. This is the situation. So we are also suffering from drought in a lot of parts in the world. This was the picture taken at the marathon in Paris a few years ago. This lady every day runs the distance of the marathon to provide the water for her family. So something that looks a bit far from us, but I will also say that, for instance, South Africa, Cape Town is going to stop the water delivery public services from next 12th of April due to total scarcity of water, and each family will, each person will receive not more than 25 liters of water a day. So a normal shower is something like, I would say, 80, 90 liters per person. So it's a bit frightening this point. So it's something we really are going to implement. When you talked before, Gabor, about the situation in cities, so these problem in cities are clearly much more important. We have a huge problem with waste and plastic materials and whatever. This is an island not far from Honduras coast, and this is another quite famous photo shooting about this situation. You know that there's a sort of garbage islands floating in the oceans following the streams, and so yeah, we really have a huge critical problem. I think we are all aware of that, but there is also scientific rationale behind it. 97% of the scientific persons and researchers are aware that this problem exists and this is related to the human behavior, to the human activities. So the overall scientific community is completely agreeing about this point. So no matter what other politicians say, but this is the situation. What can be the solution? So downsizing is a bit difficult to do, and I don't know if any of you have seen this movie. It's very nice, and if you have seen this movie, you know that also downsizing is not a solution, because we are going to put our everyday problem also in the downsized world. So it's really a matter of culture, it's really a matter of behavior, not only a matter of technological or technical solution or approaches. Yeah, what we are doing clearly, you know that after the Paris conference we have some ambitious goals to keep the increase of temperature far below 2 degrees or even 1 degree, 0.5. Okay, this happens in 2015, what is the situation now? Well, the first year when we tracked data about the CO2 emission decrease, so in 2016, derived from this report from PricewaterhouseCoopers, so we had a decrease, we had an increase of CO2 emission of only 0.4%. This is related with an increase of global GDP of 3%. So clearly the increase of CO2 emissions is related to GDP. It means that we save 2.6% of global CO2 emissions with regard to the previous year. Okay, but the goal from the Paris conference is 6.1% decrease of CO2 emissions each year. So with this pace, we will reach our goal, I don't know, in 2200. I thought that I won't be there. I think also many of you. And so clearly this is not the point, not the situation. We have really to change our approach. We know that buildings are critical from this perspective, so that's why we are focusing on the built environment. Green building certification, sustainability standards clearly are important. So we have already 25 years of story of green building certifications under our shoulders. But you know there are also some criticalities about the real effectiveness of this green building certification. So there are too many, there are too different, there are too many levels, and what's more, which is the real percentage of green buildings in the overall amount of buildings existing. So really a small percentage. So are we seriously resolving the problem with this approach? This is also the situation. It's a bit old information, but not so old. There's a situation of net zero energy building in Europe. Well, France is doing a lot with very strict policies about new net zero energy buildings, but the general situation the great percentage of buildings are very far from these goals. We have also another problem. We started sealing and insulating our buildings in the last 15 to 20 years. So we create, on the other side, a lot of problem with indoor air quality. So this is, for instance, a study performed in Germany where they compared two different school buildings. In one case, they were very careful. They were very careful about the building product they used for the building, and in another case, absolutely not. So this is the difference in emissions of VOC inside the buildings for our children, so for the pupils and the building school. So it's really a problem. there is another problem, I would say a problem of transparency. So the transparency of these labels. This is, for instance, comparison we made in Untitled about different labels monitoring the level of formaldehyde into the indoor environment. So they are very different. So one says, okay, it's green if it is under this level, then another says, okay, it's green if it's under this threshold. They are very different. So then the customer says, okay, they are all the same labels. Are they all the same labels? Are all green enough? Are they healthy enough? So it's a lot of technicality behind, and it's difficult for a customer to understand how healthy is the product, the building product I want to build, to buy, for my house. This is more or less the rationale behind the restore approach. The idea is clearly to change the vision. I would say that the triple bottom line is 30 years old. The Branson report is also 30 years old, so it's coming to, I would say, some criticalities. So the idea behind the restore is to change the approach and to put really economics at the service of society, a society at the service of nature, the service of environment. Is something we will know much better in the following presentation by Martin and Manuele. So the idea is to have buildings that are really zero impact from an environmental point of view, not only from an energy point perspective, but also from other perspective, from the user resources. And what's more, they are also nice buildings, beautiful to live in, to design, to realize, to watch and to visit, with the clear focus also on the social and the equity aspects of the people living inside these buildings, the company involved in this project, and so forth and so on. This needs really a sort of paradigm shift, and the one of our mottos is really to go towards more good and not less bad. So far we have been so satisfied for buildings that have consumed a few energy or some energy less than other comparable buildings. We really need a change of approach. So starting from green buildings, but going towards a really restorative and regenerative built environment and economy. So when buildings have at least zero environmental impact, or maybe they can also be regenerative and provide more healthy situation for the people living in. So our mission is quite ambitious, I would say. So we really want to save the world, or we would say to save us, because the world, meaning as the earth, will save itself without any problem. Nature always did it with any sort of problems. So the people that are really in problems are we. So Restore is clearly connected with the United Nations goals for the sustainability. So I would say it's completely aligned. We have to work on different levels. So mobilizing professionals, be careful about the production and the use of building products. Work also on policies. This is an important point of our project. We also would take into account it, because we have also to influence somehow the European standardization and policies about the built environment. Clearly, people are in the focus of our project. So we tried also to implement a sort of backcasting approach. So in every one of the working group we're working in, we define a goal, and we understand, we try to analyze with a sort of gap analysis how far we are from that goal, and then we step back and make a sort of backward planning. And if a new technology, a new approach is needed to reach that goal, then we will try to implement it. This is our mission. Very briefly, 1 year has passed, or quite 1 year has passed from the beginning. This Restore network is incredible. It's really amazing. We are 38 countries, so basically all the countries in Europe plus United States and New Zealand. We are more than 140 participants and counting. So maybe many of you know that we're trying to be also careful about the different expertise we have on board. I would say we have a really multidisciplinary approach involving all the expertise coming from human geography to sustainable design to industrial economy to land management, whatever. Really, we need this holistic approach, and this is, I think, one of the first already output of our project. So putting together this incredible network of professionals and researchers. We started working brilliantly with Martin's team on restorative sustainability, and our first attempt was to define what is restorative, what is regenerative, to understand, to create a common language in terms of sustainability understanding among us. And it was, I think, challenging and difficult because we have different experience and different expertise coming from different perspectives. So I think this was really one important step we made at the beginning. We are also working with Manuela and Lisanna's team on restorative design process. So our next goal is to transfer the principle that we developed in the first working group in something more practical and applicable from a methodological point of view. So okay, nice, this regenerative building is perfect, we can understand what they are, how we can design and build and perform those. So this really clearly our need in the future for the next steps. We applied in each one of this working group and in the project in entirety in a sort of Tacma model when we start at the beginning brainstorming about the different expertise that are inside the project, and clearly we also evaluate and we give stage the different experience, different expertise. But we try to go toward a more normal process in order to be really high performing at the end. Two important meetings this year about the working group 1 and 2, one in Sofia and one in Faro, where we clearly analyzed a lot the topics related to our project. This great training school in Lancaster in November, it was the first attempt to start transferring the principles we are working on to a set of professionals, the new trainers, the new teachers, that they should go to their respective university and start changing the syllabus, the curriculum of their university programs. This is important because we can talk 100 times about these topics among us, but if we don't transfer this knowledge to the trainers of the future, we will not be able to work on the future generation. And these are the short-term scientific mission. This is another important tool that's been developed by the Restore project. What's next? We just started working on the group 3, led by Giulia, about restorative building and operation, and then following with the group 4, led by Roberto, about rethinking technology, and the group 5 on scale jumping, currently led by Andras. So how we can shift this model at the building level to the district level, to the city level, to the smart city level, and so forth and so on. And this is all from my side. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Carlo, for this beautiful presentation.